want me to unlock it for them?
Oh, I better fix that.
I think your door's locked.
People wait.
You do. Very important people. Very important people. There you go.
So we put another table here, huh?
Did you say you needed help?
Yeah. Yes, they do.
So that people can get through if they need to use the restroom.
Right, yeah. I'm wrong, Larry. I don't need yours. Thought I did, but I don't.
Okay. Thank you for yours. Mm-hmm. And after a while, you might start talking with a southern accent. Makes no sense to say to me anymore. Not as much as it used to be. Yeah.
It's wearing off of you.
Except when I talk to my brother.
His southern always
Oh,
wears off.
and he's in Massachusetts. But his wife says the same thing. He and his wife were childhood sweethearts. I mean, we grew up literally a block from each other. And Judy, my ex, and Don always said that they could tell when we talked to each other. Because for some reason or another, the yells will start coming out of him.
Yeah.
Yeah. It fades after a while, but I mean, you know, with him being in Massachusetts for, I don't know, 30 years.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Is Evan coming today?
That'd be funny.
We should have that conversation again in a minute or two.
I agree.
I'll talk a little louder. It's after 1.
Technically, no. I don't know why that's.
Someone's coming here.
Yeah. Oh, no, it is.
So I gave him this bag and Shane said, oh, he goes, yeah, we'll enjoy these. I said, oh no, he's got a bag of his own in the old beat up truck that I helped him play with. He helped load some of the branches and crap.
There's no chairs.
Enjoyed it. And I said, okay,
Well,
what did you
There's no chairs for Sandy or Larry or Linda, I mean. Or David.
BYOC.
So, or,
BYOC.
so you gotta work on it.
Yeah.
There you go.
It's a new book. Oh, I know, I do too. Then I have to decide which one's stretched out the most. Oh, I don't care. Really? I'm trying to match my shoes.
study to order.
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor, but without a quorum, can you even hold a workshop?
We checked that out, yes.
Yeah, because there's no
There
decisions being made.
will be no decisions made during this.
Are you not gonna join us up here?
No, I'll sit right here, I'm fine.
For the recording of April 20th, 2025, Twin Lakes City Council working study session. Roll call, Sandy Sletton,
Here,
Mayor Dave Priestholt,
Here?
Linda Viss,
Absent.
absent. David Viss,
Absent.
absent. Jeff Postmus,
Absent.
absent. Myself, Clerk Keith, here. Get started, just so you have time to review it. I got your animal ordinance that you requested. Gary, you got communication from the League of Minnesota City on answering all of the council on all inquiries in the future, that they've set a policy for Twin Lakes because of the abundance
up.
of
I am, why don't you?
requests that they've had, that from now on, if anybody from council has a request of League of Minnesota Cities, they're gonna answer everybody all at the same time by email, so that there's no more he said, she said, or who inquired, and what the answers are, which I personally think is a great idea for and from them.
excuse me, explain that again, please.
Yes, the same email that you got from the League of Minnesota Cities has been sent to all the council and the clerk. That from now on, when a council member makes an inquiry of the League of Minnesota Cities, they're answering all of us. They're concerned that this city has an overabundance of inquiries, far more than average, and that not everybody's getting the same answer or same information. So now they're answering everybody at the same time. Does that clarify that for you? Hello?
Yeah, I guess. But sometimes when I inquire, I don't need the whole world to know what I'm inquiring about. I don't know who put that in effect, but I don't think that's right, because when I inquire about something, I don't need that everybody knows what I'm inquiring about. I don't think that's anybody else's business what I'm inquiring about.
Well, Angela Sorley is the one that issued that, and I believe she's from their legal team. If she's not from their legal team, I know that the advice and the policy was created by their legal team. It says that right in their email. As most of you know, Bolig canceled last minute for their meeting. The reason they gave the city was that their engineers had not had enough time to review what they did have in front of them. I was told by our rep Brandon that he would get me an updated date, hopefully by last Friday. I did contact him again Friday to ask if he had that, and he did not have an update and has not responded yet, so we're waiting on them. But that was the reason they gave us, is that they didn't feel their engineers had enough time with the information they've been given to prepare to come do the citywide needs assessment. And I will send him another email after this meeting just to follow up. Minnesota Pollution Control has sent a letter. We need to implement a better water treatment plan and sewer treatment plan by 2027. I don't think there's any arguments with anybody in the city about that. And both they and Bolig and Minnesota Rural Water and Minnesota Department of Health are all putting their heads together to try to come up with exactly what that plan should be. Questions from anyone on council? Minnesota Department of Health's been here 2 or 3 times in the last week based on single water complaints. One of them is an accusation that there's E. coli in the water. We'll have an answer to that by today. He said hopefully by 4 o'clock. He was trying to get it before this meeting, but I just checked. We don't have it yet. The complaint that he had was on sewer smelling water and very black water. He tested 5 different addresses, including the tower itself. Here, I don't know if you were home, Patty. I know he went down to your house to try to test there. I believe he tested the Sluttons, and he tested, I messed up the name.
Callahan?
Yep, Mrs. Callahan's. And Mrs. Callahan's, they weren't home, but he did test outside. He didn't see any discoloration, he didn't smell anything, he didn't see anything black. But he did the free chlorine test, which was 0 at their house, but 2 houses away at Sletton's, he said he did detect free chlorine in there, so it's funny, not funny, but it's just awkward that in our town, 2 houses away, you can use the free chlorine content, which is part of our problem that we're trying to figure out what to pull it.
Goblins didn't have any chlorine either.
Okay, and he said he used the word odd, and then he said, but not unusual that in 2 houses there could be a 0.2% difference. But he said that's what he's trying to narrow in on. He is talking with MMS and communicating with them on a regular basis. One of the city's, I won't say concerns, but one of the things we're trying to do differently is have all the complaints come to City Hall about water, so that we literally were entering every complaint and the date and the time, and who complained and what the complaint is into an Excel spreadsheet. We're openly sharing that with the Department of Health and what we did to try to correct it or address it, so that we can track down and narrow down, are they all the same complaints, are they all the same section of town or whatnot. So I know that some people prefer to call a city council member directly or notify them. I don't have a problem if you want to include a city council member, but I will tell you that we really want those to also be echoed directly at the same time through City Hall and the voicemail, so that we can track it and that the reports aren't delayed.
It's a good idea.
Department of Health said that our radical-free chemicals, including radium, are literally at the top and have been for over a year. He said if we go 1% higher, even though they average it out through the quarters for a whole year, he said if we go 1% higher, we're gonna be in violation. And that we've known that for, he says, at least 2 years. Their recommendation is to add some sort of a filter and or a second water well in the city. That has also been recommended, as far as records I can see, back as far as 7 years ago. So that's one of the things that I forwarded on to Bowling to look at is, you know, what type of filter, at what cost, etc., and how that's gonna help screen the radium out of our water. Again, the chlorine test we're trying to track a little bit better as well. Hydrant flushing is another thing that he addressed. When I say he, I mean the Department of Health that was here. He knows how often we're doing it, where, because we're tracking it, but he's still convinced that a lot of people aren't using their water enough and aren't draining their hot water heaters twice a year like the state recommends, and aren't flushing their soft water conditioners or other filters that they may have in line, which is all their recommendations, and that is gonna throw off testing in their home if they have those things. So that's something else that we're gonna have to communicate better, in my opinion, as a city to the residents, that those things need to be done. Because that's why he's feeling that there's a lot of sludge and sediment and smell is from people's hot water heater or water softener, or if they're not changing their water filters. Any other questions on water and sewer right now? Budget and taxes discussion, just started digging into some of that to try to get ready here for year end and come up with everybody. And property taxes last year were budgeted to be 12,500, came in at 11,465. So there's a $1,000 shortage right there.
So who didn't pay their taxes?
They are paid. There's 2 properties that are delinquent in taxes right now, and it's less than $500. And that's kind of a county issue, but we are following up with the county on that. The 2025 proposed property tax and the proposed budget revenues and expenditures, I don't understand this, projected a $12,000 shortfall. In other words, when the budget was approved last November or December, the books and the reporting already showed that it was gonna be a $12,000 shortfall between revenue that the city earned and what our expenditures were. And that got approved. So, my thing is, even being an interim clerk, it's not a really good way to run a city, or to not have some really open, candid conversations about what you're gonna do about that shortfall and what you're gonna do with the next year's budget. You can't have the same budget that we had last year if we have the same revenue, especially when companies like Hawkins had a 40% increase in all your water and sewer chemicals, so. We got into a little bit more of the accounting stuff that we were able to track down, and went to the county and the state for some of it so that we can start working on the budget for next year and get that proposed. Mr. Mayor, I'm gonna have to have your signature on a state auditor use authorization form.
What's
Which I
that?
did.
They're gonna have, is that a signature on a what?
State auditor use authorization form, because it's gotta switch from Lisa so that I can do the online reporting.
Are we gonna have an independent audit then at the end of the year?
That's actually on the agenda to be discussed here and talked about at city council. We always have an audit by the CPA. Last year, or earlier in the year, a lot of the council wanted an independent audit from the state auditor's office, and that is going to be the recommendation this year.
What was that? That's
So
this what?
that is going to be the recommendation this year, is to have the state auditor's office come do the audit.
$5,000 on the budget?
20.
$20,000 is gonna cost to have the city budgeted by the state, is that correct?
The city audited by the state,
Yeah.
unless they find the discrepancies that we're finding, then they don't bill you as much. If they don't find anything, yes.
$20,000.
Yeah.
Wow.
Would you like to question that? Cause I'd like to answer it if you have questions. Nothing? What if they find $50,000 to $100,000 of misappropriated money?
They won't.
So, at
We
what
take
amount
that
is
hit?
it worth it then?
So you're saying a local tax company is not capable of doing it, or they misdid it, or
I don't think a local company can do it.
they mishandled the.
No, I'm not saying that at all.
Oh, well, yeah, you are, 'cause you want.
No, I'm
the
not.
state
Don't
to
put
spend
words in my
20.
mouth. I'll answer you. That's
Well,
not what
then
I'm
why do
saying.
you feel, and I don't know why you're even talking, this should be the mayor running the meeting, since you have no vote or anything on the council.
Actually, that's not
So-
accurate, that he's supposed to run the meeting.
The clerk
So,
runs the
but
meeting.
why, the clerk doesn't vote when we come, when it
I
comes to
haven't
stuff.
voted.
So why are,
There
is no
but
vote.
why do you
There'll be no
feel
vote
that we need
today.
to spend $20,000 on an audit when we can have a CPA and Albert Lee do it for a couple thousand?
Thank you, I'm glad you asked the question. Because the local CPA only audits the information they are given. A
Well,
state
then
audit.
give it to them all. Give them
No,
all the information.
Trust me, I am.
I'd rather spend that first chance spending 20,000 on a state audit.
Well, the state auditor is going to look at everything. The state auditor is gonna look at everything,
$20,000.
including.
No wonder we
public.
have to raise taxes and everything.
Sandy, we have to raise taxes because they don't keep up with inflation or expenses at all. In 10 years, the city hasn't raised taxes to the amount of inflation of the cost of living. I have every figure for 10 years.
Could we hear from the mayor on some of this stuff? Cause
Yeah.
I'd like to hear some of his
Sure.
views,
I'd
not
like to
But
just
it's
hear
not
his
an
yours.
open
thoughts.
meeting, so.
I know, but I'd just like to hear from him since
I wonder why
he
he
is the
isn't
mayor.
speaking, why you're doing all the talking and he's not speaking at all.
Did you ask me to type the agenda and bring this up?
Yes, I did.
Ask him about taxes. You've seen the numbers.
Our taxes in Twin Lakes went up the lowest of any community in Fremont County. 7% was, the 7% levy was the lowest of any in the county. And
You've
100%
managed all
correct.
these other years without raising taxes a lot, so I don't understand why you feel we need to. I mean, what are you proposing now?
To keep up with, at least to keep up with the cost of living
We
increase.
can't do any more than 7%, that's what we levy.
7% is the max level we can do. That,
But the city has managed all these years without raising them more than 4 or 5%. Why now all of a sudden do you feel we need to raise? I know you set it at 7, and we can go lower. But you start raising everything according to the cost of living, and you're gonna put people in bankruptcy here in town.
What do you do?
Forget you have probably 90% of the population lives on a very fixed income. And with social security increases only going up 2 or 2.5%, and then you hike a 7 or 8% property tax onto them, they're in the hole. They're in the hole.
it has not been, we haven't caught up, it has not been maintained, the cost of living increase has not been maintained with our taxes. That's why
But the city has always managed before without raising property taxes sky high.
this is not sky high, this is bottom of the barrel
Well,
increases.
And spending $20,000 on an audit is just adding to the budget, which is not necessary.
Spending $24,000 on an attorney last year is what caused most of this.
On spending what?
$24,000 on Benda.
Well, who
And who
initiated
brought
that?
on? The
Right.
gentleman
You
sitting
guys
right
did.
next to you.
So
That's
why,
right.
when the city was proposed from the League of Minnesota Cities to file it as an insurance claim instead of through the attorney, so the League of Minnesota Cities would have paid for the attorney, why did the city keep going with Benda?
I don't know.
I do, cause your clerk and your mayor never presented that to your council. So don't blame me that the city didn't wanna respond to the data
Well,
request,
if this,
Sandy.
never mind, let's go on.
No, let's finish it, cause you
No.
keep bringing it up.
You keep on
That's
bringing
all.
it
You
up.
keep on bringing it
No, I
up.
don't.
He brought it up.
I brought up the lawyer bill.
And if the
What you think?
lawsuit would have never happened, none of that would have happened. Who
And
said
if-
who started
and
the
if for-
lawsuit?
And if for 15 years the city would have been in compliance with the law and had a policy and procedure, or answered the data request within 8 months, there wouldn't
Because
have
the
been a
city's never
lawsuit.
had a lawsuit like this before.
Okay,
I don't think the city ever had a lawsuit before.
but the law's been there for 15 years about having a set policy and procedure. That's not my fault, Sandy.
Bottom line,
In
if you
fact,
wouldn't,
frankly, bottom line is you were on council
if-
most of those.
if
4
you
years.
wouldn't have filed the lawsuit, we wouldn't have had that big lawyer bill. That's the bottom line.
No, if the city would have answered the data
Nope,
request. Yes.
I'm not gonna believe you. I don't care, you can
It
talk till you're
wasn't
blue in
just
the
that,
face,
it
but I
was
won't
the
believe you.
cannabis zoning and
And
everything
the
else.
fire department and everything else.
Fire department and everything else.
It's gone.
So if you wanna go to the budget and the tax increase, part of the problem that you just said is, we've been getting along all these years. No, you haven't. If your income or your revenue is the same as your expenses, that's not getting along. It's not the way to run it. You can't be at
You
zero
know
every
what,
year.
I'm one person on this council, and no matter what I say, you guys aren't, you're gonna do whatever you want, cause
No,
you
I'm
have
trying to
control.
have a discussion
I don't care
with
what you have to say. I don't wanna hear what you have
That
to
is
say.
the problem, isn't it?
I wanna hear what he has to say. He's supposed to be running this meeting, not you.
Show me where it says that he's supposed to be running the meeting.
Well, he's the mayor.
He's
All
there.
It's
All
a
this
work
is
study.
a work study, it is not a meeting. Please, realize that.
It's a valid question no matter who brings it up. If the revenue is the same as the expenditures, you're all smart people. If it balances out at zero, how does the city survive?
You're
Paycheck to
paying all
paycheck.
your bills.
Paycheck to
We're not in
paycheck.
the business of making money,
We're not in the business of losing it either
but
though.
we haven't lost money.
Yes, we have. We're $12,000 short with the budget that was proposed from last year to now, not counting the legal fees.
And where were all those extra expenses?
When we
Show me
have
where
full,
they are.
I'll be happy to as soon as we have. that all-
MMS, that $1,700 or $2,500 a month is part of it.
Part of it subtract whatever you would pay for the labor and wages for that water person in their training, right?
Yeah, but those bills were never more than,
I know what Travis's
$2,
wages
$1,200,
were.
$1,300 a month?
Okay, so it's not 23 or 25, is it?
Well, it's the overage,
It's gone.
it's the
That's not
difference.
including his training.
That doesn't come anywhere near $12,000.
Or the 10,000 or 5,000 at least in reimbursement for training that's undocumented. Another reason for audits.
Whatever.
Why is it whatever? You guys,
Undocumented
you're right, it's
payment.
your town. Are you not concerned that somebody
Next
put in a
project.
claim for $5,000 worth of training reimbursement and there's no documentation as to where training was, what certification, or where it cost? We just wrote a check for $5,000 for training reimbursement with no audits and no receipts.
And what training was that for the fire department, another fire department?
No, I'm not
expense?
asking about the fire department right now. If you wanna talk about that, I will. I'm talking about Travis, who submitted $5,000 in training reimbursement without a single receipt, without a single class registration or anything. Are you okay with that as a city?
There's gotta be.
Yep, because those were all educational hours.
That's fraudulent.
Where?
yes.
St. Cloud, Minneapolis, Rochester, I can
Great,
tell
then
you
there should
probably
be
every
tracking to
single
that,
one of
right?
them.
And this is the only place?
Hotel bills,
Then there should be tracking to that, right? There should be receipts for
I'm
that.
sure there was receipts turned in. Lisa wouldn't have paid them back without receipts.
Hmm. And what's the clerk's wages last year? Per hour?
I don't know. I wasn't on the council last year.
Year before?
I don't know, I wasn't on the council the year before that.
I'll guarantee you this.
What are your
they're-
wages
They're
this
not
year?
$39 an hour, I'll guarantee you
What
that.
are your wages?
She wasn't getting $39
What are your
an hour.
wages?
You're right, she
Supposed to
wasn't
be.
supposed to be getting $39.
Well, what are your wages? What are they paying you right now? Mr. Mayor, what are you paying him per hour right now?
$22 an hour.
Jeez. Didn't you advertise
And what are
it
you
for
paying Mr.
8 something?
Viss an hour?
$17.50.
And
That was
why
five-
did you, when you interviewed people, you told them you were only gonna pay them $15 an hour? Why is he getting $17.50?
Because nobody would go to
That's
take
not
the
true.
job at 15.
It was never
He would take it at 17.
When did you approve that
Can I-
rate increase?
Quiet, would you please? Nobody else would take the job for less than $20 or $25 an hour. That's why we hired Dave Viss to do it at $17.50 an hour.
So when you interviewed him, you offered him $17.50, but you offered all the other people 15? Is that
No, I
correct?
offered everybody 15. Nobody would take the job at 15. Understand what I'm saying?
So you decided to offer Dave $17.50, but nobody else
He's-
$17.50?
He's the only one that said he'd do it for $17.50. All the rest of them said they needed to have 20 to 25.
But that pay increase needed to be approved by a council meeting and it was never approved.
It was
Yes,
not.
it was approved in council meeting, I was here.
It was, when we hired him, it was.
All right, $17.50.
an hour. Move on.
Okay, get enough picture of me, good enough picture of me, Janelle?
I was blocking it.
Yeah, I can move too. We can play this game too. God. Why don't you tell her to shut her camera off and get it out of my face?
It's not in your face.
There's one over there in my face, and there's one up, there was, there's another one coming already. Let's move
They're
on.
switching from the digital, from the answering machine to digital voicemail, which is free from WCTAL. It's always been free and available to us. The reason for the switch is it'll automatically email an alert that there's a voicemail, so we can be a little more responsive to phone calls. It's been up and running for about 48 hours. The well pump and pole inspection and cleaning is due about every 5 years. It's been 8 years since it's been done. The Department of Health says that could be part of the problem as to some of our chemical buildup and losing some of our chlorine between the time it's in our system and by the time it gets to a household.
I believe I brought that up when you guys wanted, after Vis did that robotic inspection, that this was the year the tower was supposed to be drained and cleaned and inspected.
That's not what I'm talking about.
This year.
I'm talking about the pump being pulled and serviced, which is not part of the interior tank examination. And I've talked with the company that's been doing it here for at least 15 years, and he said we're 2 years overdue. He's sending an estimate today. He figures it's around $4,000 to $5,000. The Department of Health is saying that's very likely a part of the reason why we're not getting a free chlorine reading in the residences. Water billing is still a concern with some people, but I have confirmed that in 2024 and 2025, some people have been getting a $2.50 increase every quarter on water and sewer. Some others have not. I don't have the authority to change that. That's gonna have to come up at a city council meeting, but I am telling you that both in the computer and by people bringing their bills in and showing me, some people are paying different rates than others. Some people's rates are going up every quarter and some aren't. So I don't know how to answer your question yet on what your water bill is, because I don't have the authority to look at you and say, yours is X amount and somebody else's is something
Well, I'm
different.
not paying mine until I get a corrected bill.
I know, and you're the only one in the city taking that position.
I would like a corrected.
What's incorrect
The
about it?
annual increase was $5 a year. That was voted on
In
years ago.
2022, you are correct. I have 5 years of meeting notes or 3 years to go through to try to find if it's in a meeting note where they did the increase.
Mine's been increased $10 for this year instead of the $5.
So was mine.
Mine's increased $5 every quarter.
Mine's
$2.50
twice a
water,
year.
$2.50
$2.50.
sewer.
That's every quarter, and if this is the third quarter, it should have been
I'd like to see your
$15.
bills. I would really
Then
like,
bring-
Bear Trap, I would like you to bring your bills and let me look at them. Cause I don't, cause if some people's bills were going up every quarter, there'd have been people calling the office, calling people, wanting to know why is my bill going up every quarter? It was an annual increase only.
There's an annual increase in your codification and in your new adopted codes in 2022. That's a fact. But there are bills that have been increasing quarterly in 2024 and 2025. So that's gonna have to be something discussed at a council meeting when the whole council's here and you guys can make a decision. Sandy, I don't know how to correct your bill right now. There's
I'll bring
disparaging
cash in
comments.
at the November meeting for $5 less than what the bill was, plus the $9.72.
And if we come up with the meeting notes that say it was approved of $2.50 and $2.50 every quarter, $2.50 for sewer, $2.50 for water, that makes you delinquent and then you'll pay the late fee.
Well, then I'm not paying it until I get a corrected bill with no late fee, cause you can't produce a correct bill.
I believe you do have a corrected bill.
No, I
You're the
don't.
one that's arguing about it.
Mine's not corrected.
What's not correct about it?
I just told you, I'm not being charged every quarter, but every other, and I used to only be charged
Extra
once a year, and that would be in April. And I've got this year and last year's bills to prove it.
I agree that April is when the annual increase was going on. That is,
And
That's in
that's
the
all
ordinance.
it's ever been, and I've lived in this city over 35 years.
well, like I said, I'm not arguing with what you're being billed or what you're saying. I'm just telling you that people are being billed differently, and that's not okay. I'm in agreement with you, but it's gonna take a while to figure out
Well, I'm not
everybody that
paying
is
the
or-
extra. And you're not gonna charge me delinquent fees.
You're right, that's not my call, that's city council's call. I'll just give them the report and they decide.
Then why did you say that she was gonna have to pay the
I
penalty?
just corrected myself. Are you okay with that?
Oh, that's fine.
Good.
Does the city have a receipt book? Cause I suggest you get one.
No, they don't.
Well, I think
They
you
do
better
everything in
get
the
one,
computer.
because there's a lot of people that are now afraid to pay their water bills with a check. They would just as soon pay it with cash and get a
Cash is not
receipt.
being accepted in this office at all anymore. We've already discussed that. We've discussed it with the league.
When was that
We
decided?
don't have a cash receipt book or a full-time clerk or a window where someone can come in and pay cash. You think I want putting cash in that door or saying they put cash in the
Well,
door?
no, I don't wanna put
Hang
cash in the
on,
door because
hang
you'll
on.
say you never got it.
Or you will.
No, cause I'm honest.
Hmm. Codification. I had a conversation with Matt at the old service station on Highway 69 concerning the general upkeep of his property. He was very cordial and polite and receptive, but he would like to see a copy of the exact language of the ordinances and when they were approved. I had the same conversation with the gentleman over at the auto salvage auto business repair yard about general upkeep with the trash bin, the mattress outside, inoperable vehicles, etc. While they did clean some of it up, I have really big concerns that there's somebody living there. Definitely in a pop-up camper that was in the yard on my first visit, but there was nobody there. Second visit, he was there and the pop-up camper's on the inside. He's got 3 microwaves hooked up to it, a barbecue grill, several LP tanks in there. I am writing a report that my recommendation as part of the code team will be that the county housing and sort of the county building inspector needs to go look at it. He's the authority having jurisdiction. I will also tell you I'm pretty experienced from fire rescue as to what methamphetamine smells like. And I believe I smelled methamphetamine in all of the LP tanks of different sizes laying all over on video would kind of indicate the same thing.
Keith,
Yep.
can I ask where's this pop-up thing?
Gilbert's old
Inside,
place.
now it's inside the building, it was in the yard.
Gilbert's old
Gilbert's,
building.
okay, that helps me.
So they cleaned up some of the outside, but I have some concerns that I will forward on to the council in a formal report. But my recommendation is gonna be that you get county inspector there. I also had communication with Jeff Posthumous on the falling fence at 204 Main. I do see today that that's been straightened and shored up, and he said he's looking at some other alternatives to make it even more secure. Sandy called in and asked about chickens, and I wanted a copy of the whole animal ordinance, which I did copy and give her today. However, the ordinance book is available to the open public to come look at anytime that the office is open. Do have a concern about printing things all the time for people without charge, because it's not the function of the city. And we are billed, if we go over the copies, and we've been billed 2 or 3 times in the past 6 months for going over on copies. And I talked with the league about that before their new policy about vacation. And they said that email is sufficient, and that if somebody doesn't have a printer, Sandy, I know you don't. But I ran copies of them this time, and I just don't know that it's the city's responsibility to copy 36 pages of an ordinance anytime somebody wants it.
Well, they can charge a quarter a page, can't they?
Yes, they can. Plus time.
If it's an extraordinary amount of time.
No, time for research can be billed at any time. Doesn't have to be extraordinary.
Well, if I was allowed to come into the office, I could have looked up the animal ordinance myself, but I'm not allowed to come into the office.
Here, let me restate what I just said. Any member of the public can come in and look at the ordinance book at any time that it's open.
I have asked twice to come in and look at it, and I was told by Mr. Minear that he couldn't find it.
Okay, well, I'm the clerk right now temporarily. I know where the ordinance book is. The general hours are posted for Thursdays, and any other time that I'm here, you're welcome to come look at it. Or take pictures of it. Okay?
Mr. Clerk,
Yeah.
so if we come in and do our own research and find the stuff that we want copied, then you can copy it, so you shouldn't have to charge us for research then.
No, you're not allowed to research, you're allowed to look at the ordinance book.
Well,
You're not
that
allowed
way,
to
if
look
you
at other
find,
files.
if you find what you want in that ordinance book, you shouldn't have to charge for research then, because it's already been found and located, and then you shouldn't have to charge for that. So the charge should only be 25 cents a page for a copy.
No, according to the state statute, if I have to go look at all of the research it for you, we're gonna bill you for it.
Yeah, but
He just
what I'm
said it.
saying is if I come in and look at the book,
Yeah, you come in
find
and
what
look at it.
I'm looking for and show you the pages,
Yeah.
then you can make the copies.
Sure
You're
can.
not doing any research
I'm
or work.
committing to that, you are correct.
Okay, that's what I'm saying, cause I think I'm capable of looking through the book, and if I wanna find something specific, I
I'm guessing
should be
you
able to
probably
handle
are.
that. You know,
I'm guessing you probably are.
I think I'm capable enough to do that, so you don't have to do the research.
Right.
And I wouldn't wanna waste your time.
And I
doing
will
that.
tell you that while you're there, you won't waste my time with the derogatory remarks and aggressive behavior that you did with him last week either.
Well, to tell you what I got mad about was you butting in on the conversation that I was having with him.
I'm talking about
That's
my
what sent me off.
conversation with you. You didn't yell at me, you yelled at him about the way he talked to you.
Yeah,
Correct?
I didn't like the way he talked to me either. He was rather
I'm just
aggressive
saying, we're
also.
both adults and we can be professional.
Oh, yeah, I know how to do that.
Great.
Get all that, you know? Thank you.
I don't have anything else on the agenda for today. Any other questions
Oh,
from anybody else?
one other thing. Since you're the ordinance, for the cleanup
Yeah.
thing, the team, right?
Yeah.
You're on that? How about Tanner's property?
What about it?
Well, have you went and looked through that?
Nope, I have not gone property to property.
Could you make, cause I filed a complaint about that last year, with the city council when Bearcraft was still mayor. And, about Tanner's property. And, haven't got a response on that at all. And if you could put that on your agenda to go look at that, I'd appreciate that, and so would the neighbors
Do
in
you have
this area.
specifics of what your concerns are?
Oh, yeah, I'll tell you what.
I'm not being an asshole.
I know, I
have your
know.
report.
Tell you what, you walk back there and take a look, it's pretty obvious. You don't even have to walk back there, just drive back there, drive along the road,
Picture.
slow down and stop. You can take a look at it, and it's pretty darn obvious.
I'll put it on the list.
Okay, thank you, appreciate that.
I need to add one thing. Pictures were given to the council
In
and,
April.
and no response.
Are you talking about Tanner's property or about something else?
Tanner's property.
I
And
haven't
his,
seen
and
him
his,
well.
and his having chickens along with the Vicks having chickens, because farm animals are defined as sheep, poultry, fowl. Farm animals shall only be kept in an agricultural district of the city or a residential lot of 10 acres or more. Well, we don't have an agricultural zone in the city, so I think.
And how about
letters
loose
need to go
dogs?
out to a couple people.
Yeah.
One president?
Okay.
So I did talk to David Viss about chickens. I did just print out the animal ordinance. I do not have it memorized and I have not read all 30 pages. I will, as one of the people on the code enforcement thing. And I do know that David is looking for alternatives for his chickens already, because he doesn't really want the fight. So I know he's talked to one local farmer already, and like I said, I haven't read through the whole thing, I just printed it out. You got a question about dogs?
Yeah, loose dogs. Give you an example. Tanner's been, being a foster parent to a dog or something, or whatever it is. Well, he left this weekend. His dog wasn't the issue. The dog that he's been taking care of was out. I don't know how many times it got out. Our neighbors put it back once, my daughter put it back once. It gets out, it's running on the road, damn near we've seen it almost get hit twice by a car. It's barking, it was barking all the time, and I think Patty can attest to
It
that.
howled all night.
You know, and it was awfully irritating. And Tanner ended up getting a call, because the sheriff called him to find out what the heck was going on with the dog. And the neighbor next to me even brought water to the dog, so the dog could have water. Because it kept getting out of the fence. And it was over by, Brandon Brackey's place, and he just had another dog that's a resident in town, went there and killed half their chickens.
I understand that dog no longer exists.
Well, that's probably a good thing, because once they get the taste of blood like that, they don't quit, and it's unfortunate.
I am familiar with that other dog and its owner, and it's being watched very carefully.
Yeah.
I believe he had 2 dogs. I don't know if he still has the one or.
He had 2, and I know he made it right with, Brandon's kids, cause they were, the chickens were the kids' chickens.
It's not the first chicken.
Yeah, I know that. Killed some windows, I think.
Anything else for this from the public? Oh, I do want to address one other thing that's not on the agenda, but so it can get on the agenda for the next meeting. I personally want public forum brought back. I think it's due, I think it's owed. I just don't understand why it can't be as civil as something like this. Now, I know there are differing opinions on why it got to the point where it is. But after the last council meeting, the mayor and I and 2 residents and Janelle spent an hour and a half here with 2 other residents in a conversation like this that was very, very civil. And a news reporter who didn't report on the hour and a half after meeting. I won't say meeting because there wasn't a quorum, it was a conversation. I'll push as a city clerk that I think public forum and public comment time is needed.
It most certainly is.
There are 33 other cities and school districts that have banned it because of similar behaviors. I'm all for it. And I don't think council's against it. We just want it to be civil.
I'm for it myself.
I have encouraged him to stop using the term shut up and to stop using the term be quiet.
Yeah, and I don't like
Go ahead.
a sitting city council person call me an asshole.
Okay?
I do not appreciate that in the least bit.
I think the name calling and the aggression on all sides needs to stop.
Cause if I would've used that kind of language to her when she's sitting there at a council meeting, what would you guys have done? What would you,
I
the
think there's-
uproar from you
You
guys would have
have.
been just absurd.
I think
You
there's
have.
been,
What? I never called anybody an asshole.
You called me worse than that when you were
Yeah.
sitting behind me. That's why I agree with
I've
these
never
guys
called you
here
a bad
that
name. Never.
like to have public forum is a great idea. And I actually said it at the last meeting is I have concerns as a property owner in this town as well, but I'm not allowed to say them. I can only give fire department report. I think that public forum is great. And I'm gonna say it again. I've said it to everybody I've talked to. I think we can have a disagreement about how we think something should be handled, but we should still be able to say good morning to each other. It's not that hard of a thing to be civil to literally everybody, including council.
Well, I don't know if it'll ever get to good morning, but we should be.
And
able to
that's
be
fine,
civil.
but we should be civil to council, I do
But
believe.
I'm all
But-
for public forum, but it has to be civil.
Yeah, but it was your sister that called me an asshole
Listen,
3
yes,
times
but-
that night. 3 times.
Pat, in agreement or not, it's been contentious for well over a year from all sides, yes or no?
Oh, yeah,
Okay,
cause
So-
my Irish gets up.
okay,
There's
well,
no doubt
so does
about
my
it.
German and my Indian, but so why can't we, as the people sitting here tonight, be some of the leadership that says we can have that public discord without the screaming, shouting, and calling him an incompetent idiot, and everything else that's been yelled out in here? You know, we ought to be able to say, I disagree, but there has to be order.
Yeah, and another thing that, as long as we're
Yeah,
speaking
it's
candidly
civil
here,
conversation.
he should be running the meetings, not you. Because one of the parts that irritates the heck out of me
And
is that you
everybody else.
keep interrupting when people bring stuff up and telling him what to do and how to do it. And to me, that's his job. Let him do his job. Just let him do it.
The reason I have him there is to make sure everything I do is legal. If I'm not that much I don't know that much about all the laws that are required, but he does. So if I ask him, should I do this? It's because I wanna know if it's legal or not.
Mr. Mayor, as the mayor, you should know what you can and cannot do.
I have not been a politician for many years,
Now, being a mayor, not having to be it's nothing about being a politician.
but
It's about just doing the
if
job.
I do anything wrong, somebody's calling the state administrator. I mean, that's why I have somebody to make sure I do everything right.
Yeah, but it goes beyond that though too, because he's been answering questions and stuff for you.
That's very
And
good.
basically running the meeting.
Doing a better job than I would be able to do.
Yeah, but that's not his job.
Well,
That's your job.
As the clerk now, part of it is.
Now it is, as the clerk.
The problem is that we've asked questions before it got irate, and you guys never answered, you never come back with an answer for it. You
Never.
decided in January or
February.
February that you're gonna get back to us. Nothing's gotten done about it.
And
You
that's-
never respond to a
So
question.
then you wonder why we're
Well,
upset?
I agree with you
Okay.
wholeheartedly.
Okay,
And I've
so,
said that publicly in this meeting. I know that was said by council members, that they would get back to you.
but nothing has changed, either on your end. You expect us to change when you guys won't change?
Okay, something has changed. Public data requests are being answered, even if not fulfilled, they're being answered within 48 hours of being submitted. That's a start. I'm not saying it's the end all do all. People aren't being ignored. Do I agree with you? 1000% yes, that answers are not quick enough to the general public. I'm telling you that yes right now, everybody's recording. I agree with you. That's part of why I say public forum has to change.
But see, the thing of it is, it's not just that the information requests or getting back to people is not quick enough. It's not happening at all. In most cases, it hasn't happened at all. That's why people are upset and they're fed up, to be blunt.
What
They're
hasn't
just
happened?
fed up.
What has, hang on, I don't understand what you said. What
Well,
has-
there's been a lot of stuff that's been talked about and said, okay, we'll get back to you. Nothing. It's like crickets. It went quiet.
And people have sent emails and there's no response.
The mayor hanging up on people.
Left a message in the voicemail back there and no response.
Okay, well, I now log every single voicemail on a spreadsheet.
No phone calls being returned. There's a whole list of stuff that should be getting done.
Well,
And
then
that's
let's just-
why,
Then let's not end the meeting. Tell me what's going on that you're not happy with as far as communication from City Hall. I'm not a council member, but I will do what I can.
well,
to
that's what I'm
communicate better.
saying is, in general, the response is when you say that you're gonna get back to people with a credible answer. When
If you
people
want- if
call,
you respond in 1 or 2 or 48 hours, that's fine, but they want an answer to their question within 10 to 14 business days. That's what was decided at the February meeting. Their questions and concerns would be answered in 10 to 14 days. You can call them and say, yes, I got your comment, but what they want is an answer, and 10 to 14 days is a long enough period for you as a clerk or me as a council person to get back to that person with that comment or question, with an answer to their comment or question.
And I have to verify first, by law, whether that's something I can give them. There's no two ways about the conversation that some of the things that have been asked for, I or the former clerk or the clerk before that are not legally allowed to give.
I understand that, but if it's as simple as, can I come and look at the ordinance book, or can you tell me what this ordinance reads? You should be able to tell them.
You are correct.
As simple, I mean,
Within 10 to
I
14
understand
days
that
is more
some
than
stuff
reasonable.
is public data and some stuff isn't. I understand that part of it. But if it's public data, you should be able to respond in writing within 10 to 14 days with an answer to their question, comment, or concern.
And I do, and I will continue to.
And I'll just speak for our household. I know that Bruce has left you some messages, Mr. Mayor, and whether he leaves them there, or just say, hey, I got your message, I don't know the answer yet, I'm looking into it. That takes everybody's anxiety levels down,
Absolutely.
because it's like, oh, they heard me. I'm being heard.
But then don't take another month or two to answer it, to actually come up with the answer.
Do you know how many public data requests this office is getting right now?
Probably lots.
Right. You're right, and I gotta dance on eggshells too.
Probably
and-
because you wouldn't let public forum at the meetings, and they couldn't get their comments, questions, or concerns out and then wait for an answer. So you're being bombarded now, cause you haven't had public forum at the meetings for 4 months.
Okay, but some of what we're getting, in fact, I would say
Let's move on, this is a workshop, we're not gonna get anything discussed.
that's what a workshop is.
Let's just move on.
40% of what we're getting right now are repeat data requests that have already been publicly answered here in full. If the city wants to keep paying the clerk $22 an hour to repeat answer them, I'm fine with that. But I'm telling you, that's what's going on. The last one that we got is the city paying me to wash windows at City Hall. Because God forbid on a weekend while I was here, I washed that window and that window to get rid of all the fly crap and everything else, so people can see in and have a little bit of respect for the building they're walking into. It didn't take 10 minutes, but that's literally an inquiry to the mayor, are we paying me to wash a window? I think we have bigger concerns with water, sewer, and everything else to worry about.
I will also add something that's frustrating to me, cause I like to take notes, so we don't have to keep calling back and asking crap. But copies, you know, and I know you said a lot of places do not make copies anymore. I don't know if that's true or not, but I'm just a note taker, that's what I've done all my life.
We are proposing 1 copy per table is what was talking about. I will do better at that, I know I did not do that, and I did not convey that to you.
Thank you for hearing that.
I just have a question.
Yep.
That if you are upset with somebody in the audience, please don't blame the city. It's an open forum, and you're saying the residents at the last meeting, it was not people from town that were disrupting. It was people from out of town. And you threw up the thing about if you've been, I don't remember the wording, but it would go on record and you'd be ejected. You didn't even call out the right people that were being disruptive.
But he was corrected on that. Correct?
No, not all of them.
Not all of them.
Well, that's part of the hearing and part of the reason he had me as a consultant to begin with, is that he didn't always hear the right people or what was being said. It's an attempt.
Well,
Trying
I'm
to get
just
better.
throwing it out.
I agree with you. I'm not disagreeing with you. And unfortunately, even when it comes to public comment, it's not limited to residents. It's, anyone can come in and talk. It's not limited to taxpayers or business owners or people that live here. And like I said, you know, my hope is that it can be brought back quickly. I'm just asking all of us to help control each other when emotions start getting out of control, to rein it back in so it can be productive for everybody.
One thing that I'd like to say is I would like public comment as well, because I've been trying to just mention how, and I have pictures and videos of animals coming from the house up on the hill by the water tower. They come across and come into my rental house. They're not coming in, but they're all over in the yard. And I mean, they try to get into the garage, they try to get into the house. And I haven't been able to bring that up to council because I also can't speak because there's no public forum, but I'm only allowed to give fire department report. So that's why I also ask that people be respectful, because that way we all get to get heard, not just the select few that holler and scream louder than somebody else.
And maybe a reminder in the Twin Lakes Times that all dogs and cats are supposed to be licensed and proof of vaccination.
Yes,
I would
that's
like
right.
that as well. These aren't animals that are dogs and cats.
Talking wildlife, right?
Yeah,
I
I've
have
got a lot of
raccoons in my
possums.
backyard About 3 o'clock just about every morning, I got videos of them.
But yeah, I've
They
got
tripped my
possums that
camera.
come from up there, and you can watch them come out from underneath her deck out front.
Well, if it's
And they
not a
come right
dog
down
or
the
a
hill
cat, then
and-
it must be wildlife, right?
Right.
Well, how are you supposed to stop wildlife?
They're living in there though because the property is not upkept, and that
Whose
was
property?
one on
the
Tower
one
Hill,
on Tower Drive, right at the top of the hill.
The abandoned one.
Bracky.
So there's a lot of-
Josie
That one,
Bracky.
yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of animals coming, and I have videos that I can show like everybody. I have no problem showing them, but they come right out from under her deck. I've seen them come out the window that's broken out up there. You know, and I would like to be able to say that, but when public
Well, that
forum
would
gets
be
taken away
by a
because of
code.
screaming,
The code, the ordinance committee should.
Isn't that the?
I agree.
county- Isn't that the
That house has already been photographed as of last weekend, is forward also to the county building inspector, because he has more authority than the city as to the building codes that need to be enforced around it. The city also has an obligation with the vegetation and the piles of construction stuff, but the county building authority has more authority and faster authority to get more done, so we're attacking that on a dual front.
Okay, so you adjourn the meeting?
I would. Thank you for showing up, everyone.
You want your pop?